those sanskars can be taken. And it's those sanskars, praktalaka aduniki chasti yasat bhakti vasana. It's those sanskars that become the stepping stones and building blocks for what becomes the solidification of progress in bhakti from one iteration to another. So the actual vrat doesn't end. The month has come to an end. And so we honor that month. But even Ekadasi Vrata, does it come to an end or was there permanent benefit? So any vrat that's taken on any tithi, anything, those things, they don't come to an end. They go on in the form of the sanskars that they create in the chitta. Understand? But the time period, according to astrology, everything, that's what comes to an end. So we mark the end of that by a celebration with pizza. Okay? And of course, my wife had to make a pizza with everything that we didn't do for 4 months. So actually, egg, except for Erdal. Eggplant, tomatoes, this thing, that thing. And did he mention, only thing we forgot to put any sesame on there for some reason. And no honey was put on anything, but everything else was on there. Right? So, but even then, the idea is that what happened during this time period, the intensification of our Harinam Jap, any other kinds of bhajan seva, that should be marked permanently. And we should try to hold to the lotus feet of that thing. Because sometimes it's considered, I did it, I made it through. It's over now. Right? Like fasting on Janmashtami. I made it through, it's 12 o'clock. Huh? Right? But actually the idea is that we want to hold on to that thing. Because if it was the intensification of bhakti, why do I want to give that back? You understand? So if I was chanting 1 lakh and I was down to chant 1.5 lakhs, or if I was chanting 32 rounds, whatever it was, and you increased it, we should try to keep that space, right? And you should also fight back. So if you say, oh, but I'm so busy now, I was making so much hard extra to accomplish this thing. So, okay, so I cannot do the same thing, but I'm not going back to what was prior to that. Understand? So if I was chanting 16 rounds before, now I have to do 32. I cannot do less. I can't do 64, but I would have to do 32. So, because if you're working, have children, so many different things may be there, then it's a little different. Gurudev set aside. But then, still, all the other services you're doing, like Srila Prabhupada, the reason he allowed a minimum of 16 rounds, because if you remember in the olden days of ISKCON, from 4 o'clock in the morning till 9:30, when you took hot milk to go to bed, your day was full. There was no question of any time for anything else. Right, because from that period of time, then you were fully busy, so all of the time was absorbed. You understand? From that time. So we should not think that our vrat has come to a conclusion, but rather our vrat again this year has made another step. And then you can start to look any realizations or any progress is made. Gurudev says you have to check your own barometer, and you'll see any progress was made during this period. And then if there's any progress made, then you store that in your heart safe as your currency, and then moving on, trying to obtain more and more bhakti. So of course during the Kartik Mas there's so many wonderful things that take place, so many wonderful leelas that take place, right? Because you bear witness also to the unfoldment of Satyavrat Muni. Why is it, and so we'll start our questioning here. So why, of all the different songs to sing, are we singing Damodarastakam? Many leelas go on during this period. So why Damodarastakam is chosen as part of the vrat for morning and evening? I'm asking.
Because the progression of Satyavrat Muni's bhakti?
Yes, exactly. Because Satyavrat Muni personified from the beginning. Does anybody know the history of Satyavrat Muni?
You did something.
Oh, I told that time. Yeah. So knowing that history, knowing where he came from to where he ended in.
We don't all know that.
Go to the video
Summary.
He was the son of one king, and as the son of that king, I'm doing in brief. He was the son of that king. He was not very learned among the sons of that king. So Vashishta Rishi, who was the guru, because they come in Suryavamsa, he said, this boy is not doing very much for your reputation, you're the king here, everything. So I think even if you banish him, it won't be any harm. Long story short, he banished him. So even though that Satyavrat had so many problems in terms of his ability to understand and execute Rajniti, because Rajniti is a whole science. What Bhishma Dev spoke to Maharaj Yudhishthira when he was passing first, right? It's a whole science, right? So he couldn't digest any of that nor execute it. So it was like useless in terms of being part of the royal entourage, so to speak. So he was banished to live among sort of the outcasts. So living among the outcasts, even though he did not regret, remorse, anything to Vaishishthari, even though it says in some Puranas, the different Puranas tell differently. Some say he actually had some feudal mood with Vaishishtharishi. But I've read other places where it doesn't say that. And the reason I lean towards the other, because how can you have offensive mood towards the Guru and Vaishishtharishi, high class of sadhu, and any progress would come to you? You understand? So I think in the other commentaries, they're saying only because Vaishishtharishi told, but not a rishi does this too. He'll do things in order to encourage some outcome. You understand? So I'm not really fully on board, because in some of these commentaries, not only our Gaudiya acharyas are commenting, others are commenting also in some of these cases in Puranas. So, Haribol Guruji, Dhanavad. So, anyway, long story short, he always had one good quality, and that's that he never lied. Right? Even when he was young, he would do things which were inappropriate, and they would come to, did you do this? Yes, Father, I did that. Even if it was the dumbest thing. He said, yes, I did that. Right? So he had this quality. So when he was living among the untouchables, I told a story in brief that once a hunter was hunting a boar. And he shot the boar was wounded. And the boar ran to him for shelter. And he didn't have a name by that time. They used to call him Uttai. After he left his kingdom, he was Satya. He was called, no, he had a name previous to that. But they used to call him Uttai. And anyways, when he had this boar come to him, right, the boar ran. He didn't give shelter per se, but the boar ran into his area where he was staying. And when the hunter came along, the hunter said, hey, have you seen any boar come along here? So in anticipation of the hunter coming, and knowing he was going to have to confront this, and knowing he had never told a lie, he started to go, aing, and he was reciting aing, which is the Gyan Bij. So while he's reciting that, one epiphany came to him. It's okay. Okay. One epiphany came to him, and he told to the hunter, for those who know, they do not see. And for those who see, they do not know. So the hunter was like, what does that mean? So he just repeated it. So the hunter gave up and left and went away. So then he himself started to meditate on that. And the acharyas say what happened was, Divya Saraswati showing her kripa came because of the Ayin Bij. And she blessed him with this sort of metaphor. And in that metaphor, it meant that those who actually know the Atma, they don't see the external body. So he didn't have to lie. He said, I've never seen any boar, because only he's seeing the Atma. And he says, if you're seeing that this is a boar, and this is a human, and this is that, then you really don't know. So he himself came to that epiphany. That's the genesis of the spiritual life of Satyavrat. Later on, he becomes very famous, and the kingdom hears about it, and the kingdom re-embraces him. He goes back, he becomes Satyavrat, the king. But by that time, he's into the mood of enlightenment, so he pretty much turns the kingdom over to his children. He goes himself to the bank of the Narmada, and this is where the pastime of Matsya takes place. Like that. So from there we know in Bhagavatam what happens with Matsya and all that. 76 days I will return and gather everybody, etc. It's the original Noah's Ark story. Understand? So that's Satyavrat Muni. Over the course of a long period of time, he realized in increments the glory of Braj Bhakti. Understand? And this is why we sing Damodarastakam. Because this Damodarastakam is the evolution aspired for by everyone who's come in the path of Raganuga Bhajana. To understand first what is the glory of Braj Bhakti. To understand, like in the third line, Iti Dik Swalilabhir Ananda Kunde Swagosha Nimanjantam Ayak Payantam. In Sanskrit, Nimanjantam means, one meaning is to forcibly plunge somebody. So here the indication is that the Vrijabasis, their love is not, because it also means to submerge, to immerse, but forcibly plunge is also one word that's there in the Abhidhamma in the dictionary. And what that means, the nature of the praying of Vrijabasis itself is so high class that by the force of their praying, they're plunged into the Anandakup. You understand? So, by that, Satyavrat Muni, he's amazed. And therefore he gives an indication in his third verse, Tadiyesita Geshur, that those who are Tadiya means they're devotees, Isha, of Bhagavan, Yea, sure. But who have knowledge of his Bhagavata, I'm telling to you, that only Bhaktara Chittattva means he's Jita only to those who have this kind of frame, this broad frame. So realizing the glory of that kind of broad frame, he has aspiration for that. And therefore he nourishes that by going on to notice first he noticed the beauty of Krishna's roop. Because Nam, Roop, Gun, Parikar, Lila. This is the crumb. Right? Because some people say Nam, Roop, Gun, Lila, etc. But actually Parikar comes before Lila in Jiva Goswami's writings. Because without realizing any Parikar, how will you know what is your status in the Lila? And so you have to realize one Parikar, and my mood wanting to be like that Parikar, then gives entrance into Lila based on that mood. So it's Nam, Roop, Gun, Parikar, Lila. Right? So he's looking first at the beauty of Mother Yashoda's dealings with Krishna. That by her Vatsalya Prem, she was able to actually conquer Krishna. Because even though he's Nama Ishwaram, so Namaha, he's offering his Dandavat Pranam to Ishwaram. So Isha means Bhagavan, but Varam means the highest category of Bhagavan. There's nothing better than this category. That Bhagavan, whom fear personified is afraid of, he's afraid of Mother Yashoda. Amazing. More than that, when he's actually caught by Mother Yashoda stealing, he runs. More amazingly, yogis, munis, sadhus, who by the speed of their mind are trying to get a glimpse of his toenails, Mother Yashoda with heavy body weight and everything caught him from behind. Instead, so all of this is nourishing, it is udipan to his increased desire for this Brajabhav. And therefore he goes on to pray, oh, I want to only see this, etc. Then he gets to Idam Temu Kambojam Avyakta Nirlai. That he's seen that in the shlok, nowhere does it mention Mother Yashoda's name. You understand? The beautiful red face of Krishna is being kissed again and again. But it has not mentioned by whom. In our songbook, it will always parenthesis by Mother Yashoda. Because it's context to the Leela. But why Satyavrat Muni didn't mention my name? It would be glorifying a devotee. I saw that Yashoda was kissing his beautiful face again and again. There's no, because anybody very expert in Sanskrit language, they can take words and make it match the meter and everything else. So that would not have been a problem. So why he did not say? Because what he saw was two visions. He saw one vision under which Mother Yashoda kissed the face of Krishna, but he saw another vision under which another gopi was kissing the face of Krishna. And muhur means again and again. So in one case, Mother Yashoda was kissing to stop the crying of Krishna. In the second case, the other gopi was kissing Krishna, but then when she was not kissing Krishna, she would forget that she had kissed him in the first place, because this is the meaning of anurag. You understand? Anurag means everything is always brand new. So she kissed Krishna, but she can't, did I kiss Krishna or not kiss Krishna? And desiring, so kissing again and again. You understand? So like this, here is indicated that another gopi is, and by seeing this, a mood came in his heart. But now bewilderment comes, so Namo Devo Dhamma, so now in Adbhuti he starts to pray to the wonder of Bhagavan again. Because I'm confused, I'm embarrassed, so many emotions going on at one time. So then he prays, I want bhakti like this. But I know I may not be qualified, so he uses Nalakuvera and Manigriva as examples. He doesn't want their bhakti, but he wants the nature by which they were delivered, because they were delivered by mercy. So Kuvera Majo, Bala Mojai Yatva. I want the way they were delivered. I would like to be delivered by that kind of mercy, because I'm not qualified. And what is my aspiration? Namo Radhikaya Tujabi. I want now this Pali Dasi Bhav. So any devotee singing this day and night who has this understanding will understand, yes, this is in my jati. I also want this Pali Dasi Bhav. You understand? And I'm less qualified. So everything he's saying is true for me and more. So this is why we've sung Damodarastakam throughout the whole Kartik Mass. And having obtained the mood of being able to serve Srimati Radhika, we'll segue into, because of time, into the fact that tonight is the Sarded Ras Leela. So first question is, how many kinds of Ras Leela are there? And here I'll add one Rasya.
As far as I know, two.
There are two. How many? Huh?
Maharas and Originalas.
All Ras is Maharas. But two kinds? Vasanti ras and Sarid ras, so that's two. What other kind of ras is there?
The ras of tasting.
Rasa, yeah, so that's there. But there's actually another kind of ras lila.
Pura ras? Huh?
Sankirtan ras lila
Mm.
in Mahaprabhu's lila. In the courtyard of Srivas is also ras lila. This is why it is exclusive. Only those devotees who were pure devotees of other incarnations. All the pure devotees headed by Uddhava come into Goa Lila. And Rupa Goswami is written, and it's quoted also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that all these pure devotees from previous incarnations headed by Uddhava come into Goa Lila to a Vaishishya Dashabhav towards Mahaprabhu. They get to taste the intensity of Braj Bhav. They do not give up their Sarupas, Hanuman, four Kumaras, etc. or Prahalad, but they taste the intensity of Braj Ras Lila in the Kirtan Ras Lila in the courtyard of Srivas. Okay? This is the uniqueness. This is the Kripa Maharas. This is the Odorja Maharas. Because both Sarid Ras Lila and Vasanti Ras Lila are also exclusive. Because who can go there? Only gopis. So now, what is the difference between Sarid Ras Lila and Vasanti Ras Lila?
Time.
Huh?
Time. Spring, autumn.
Oh yes, yes. So first thing, one is in the autumn season, one is in spring season. Okay, next person. One person can answer twice.
Southern cities are allowed to enter Sardiras.
Southern cities are allowed to enter into Sardiras. Not only that, but all gopis can come into Sardiras. Anything else? About Sardiras?
Location?
Location? What two locations? At least two. There's so many.
Bank of Yamuna.
Vamsivat? For where? Which Ras will take place there?
Sardiras.
What about Vasanti Ras?
Giriraj.
Red Govardhan. Yes. Another quality in Saradiras. Oh, you answered already, okay. Prabhuji? Another quality in Saradiras. That even though Krishna calls for the Ras, not everybody can come.
Oh, he called by name, right?
He called by name to Radhika. He always calls only Radhika. He doesn't have any, the flute doesn't manifest, because if anybody's playing, we had a discussion one time, and this is a very good example. If somebody's playing music and they're playing inspiration solo thing, you can only play your own inspiration. You understand? Anything else you play is not truly your solo. In other words, there are people who musically notate the solo of an artist. Is that their solo? No, they're playing the solo of John Coltrane or the solo of this person, solo of that person. It's only your solo when it's coming from your inspiration. Krishna's only real inspiration is? Therefore, when he plays the flute by Swabhavik nature, Radha's name comes out. But when Radha's name comes out, all here. This is the meaning, our acharyas have written, Jagu Kalam, Bamadrisamanoharam. This is one of the verses in 10th canto, how he called to us. This is the sound of the flute. Jagu Kalam, Bamadrisamanoharam. So Kalam, all acharyas said means indistinct. Because he's calling the name of Radhika, but he's making it indistinct. Because that time he's not trying to awaken all of Braj. So the sound comes in a very indistinct way. It's the name of Radhika, but all gopis thinking, he's calling me. He's calling me. Because I think, what does it mean? Everybody has their own name. So Jiva Goswami clearly, all the acharyas actually explain, if you look in symphony and commentaries, they all explain Kala means it was indistinct. So he intended Radhika's name, but all gopis heard their own name. And when all gopis were coming to Ras, then each gopi was running like you're one gopi, you're one gopi, you're one gopi, you're one gopi, but neither gopi saw the other one. They're all running to same Ras, but by absorption, you didn't know there's a gopi here, there's another gopi, another gopi. Nobody knew. They're all just running towards Krishna. Understand?
Because they thought that he was calling them alone, isn't it?
Not necessarily, but they became absorbed because the flute has this quality. I had given one class on Venu Geet, and in Venu Geet there's so many commentaries, and one thing is expressed there, that the Ada Amrit of Krishna, the nectar of his lips, is Krishna, what is it? what is it? Advaya Gyan Paratattva. He is one absolute truth. Right? Krishna's Ada Amrit is it different from Krishna? Ada Amrit means the nectar coming from his lips. Is it different from him himself?
No.
Therefore, what Krishna had done was when he put the Ada Amrit into the flute then, because of the arrangement of the holes in the flute and the ayus, because Krishna is not blowing, his very life, his intention, everything is put there, and that's why it becomes nectar. That transverses through the holes and makes the sound, because his life air is there. That sound calls out the name of Radhika and starts seeking Radhika. But that Venunad also takes advantage of any opening of any gopi. So, if you're in the company of any man and woman, do you look right at the eyes? If you're looking at any lady, well, you'll get smacked if you.
Right away.
But I'm just saying, but you don't think by nature, brahmachari, married with a looking in the eyes, you do that? Never. So by eyes, you'll be some protective. If any guy is looking at you, also put your head down or cover your head, right? So by nature, it's protected. Also, certainly by touch, you can protect yourself. You understand? So by so many of the other senses, you can be protected. But what sense you cannot protect? Ears. So many sounds are going on in Vrindavan. Krishna knows they cannot protect the ear. You understand? Therefore, the Venunad takes entrance in the ear. It goes straight to the heart. But when it comes into the heart, it's no longer Venunad. It becomes Krishna himself. You understand? And this is why in Venu Geet, the gopis, when they hear it, they become stunned. And when they become stunned, they become embarrassed because this is Purvarag. And becoming embarrassed, they come into association with others who are very close to them. You understand? If in very young age, any girls are in I don't know what, I don't want to say elementary school, I don't want to put it that far back for us, hopefully, but getting to that 9 or 10 years old, right? And any girl likes a young boy. She will never give expression. If she sees that boy and her face turns a little red or something, right? She will go to her friends. In the company of other girls in the school, you'll not be around talking. But as soon as you see your friends, you'll run together and get in a group and chat and do this and do that and giggle and everything else. You understand? So like this, Vanyanto, Abhire Bire. The gopis, when they heard the flute, because Krishna manifested now became embarrassed, they ran into each other's group where they could find some shelter to give expression. And also, when that happened, then they started to, what is called Avahita Bhav. Avahita Bhav? Avahit means to cover, like to keep it concealed. So to do Avahita Bhav, they began to speak about other people who are also under the influence of this flute. So don't blame us. You understand? We're not the only ones who get caught up like this. You understand? So they're saying everybody, elder ladies, when you hear this flute of Krishna, you also start daydreaming and stuff. Right? Not tangibly. Just the beauty of Krishna's flute, you also become daydreaming. You understand? And even they go to a whole list. They first go to Jamunaji. Jamunaji is very high class of demigoddess saint. But Jamunaji, if she hears the flute, she's going one way, she stops to double back. And when she doubles back, the two currents mix and create a whirlpool. So then she's just going in circles like this. You understand? So even Jamuna becomes, some sages, they appear in this braj as birds. And they get onto a tree. Any bird that hears a sound, what do they normally do? They take off and fly away if you hear sounds, right? So when they hear the flute, however, they block out all of the sounds and they sit on the trees and they go like this. And these are great sages. So and then they first give the example also of deer. They say the deer, they hear the flute and they immediately, unabashedly, they go towards Krishna, but that's not the amazing thing. What's amazing about the deer going to Krishna? No, for deers, they're attracted to music. Huh?
Usually we're scared.
Usually deer scared, but if you play music, deers have attraction for that. The thing that was amazing for them is Krishna saw it, their husbands followed them.
Oh.
Our husbands will never follow us to go, you understand? So they may say, oh, Krishna saw it, so just look here. How the wife could be bewildered, husband also became bewildered. He's going also with the wife towards Krishna. So then, the elders may argue. But this is rarely seen because deer are very shy. You know, you don't see it. Oh, well, don't worry. My Nanda Baba's house, 9 lakhs cows. In Bishop Bano, 11 lakhs cows. You think nobody else has cows except these 2 families? There's millions of cows here, right? And the cows, when they hear the flute, they are eating grass, but then they stop and the grass is hanging from their mouths. And the mothers are feeding their children, and the calves, they have the milk, but they're not swallowing it. So what happened to them? And you see them every day. Like this, they go down the whole list. Then they get to the Palindi girls. Then they say, listen, the Palindi girls, you may say, and the reason they use the Palindi girls because they live in that village, or they live in the surrounding area. So then they say, well, Palindi girls, look at this. They're so unashamed, because you may say that the cows are animals. So it's some swabavic thing in animals. When they hear flutes, they do this. These are actual human beings, girls who live in our neighborhood just like us. And these girls, when they hear it, they become so bewildered that they pick up the kumkum off the grass and smear it all over their bodies. Oh, but you say these girls are Aboriginal girls, so they don't have culture or anything like that. Oh, hold on a second. The Davies in Swarga, they're riding on airplanes with their husbands. And upon hearing this flute, their clothing becomes loose and they lean over the chariot like Viman, like this. Understand? So in this way, throughout the whole Vedu Geet, they are giving these wonderful examples in Avihita Bhav of their Purvarag. Like this. So, but in the Sardiya Raslila, one thing that's also amazing, when the flute is played, not everyone can come. So who cannot come to the Sardiya Raslila?
Who's caught by their family members?
Who were caught by their family members. Okay, others have started entering here too now. Why were they checked by their family members?
Because they had some contamination.
They had some, but how could there be contamination in Braj? Things that make you go,
Does it go cool in this pastime that takes
No,
place in
everything's in
bridging
Gokul.
or Goloka, and so there's
everything's in
some
Gokul.
element that's okay.
It's all in Gokul. So first you have to identify who was it that was checked.
It would have been the Southern States,
Southern
correct?
students.
Southern cities, but among them who? Because Southern cities means Ayotaki, Yotaki, right? So either they came in groups or separately.
Those who have
The ones that had children?
They had children because of a reason. So what group was that actually had children? You're right, but what group had children?
those who have not yet associated with other gopis.
Yeah, the Nityasena Gopis. Big thing. Who were they? We got all the elements there, but who were they?
Kotiani, no?
Maybe like the Shujichari or the
Smriti.
Who's the other group?
Smriti.
Rishi Char?
Rishicharis, who were blessed by Ram and Dandakaraka
Yeah,
forest.
yeah, yeah,
You understand? They came, and here's the amazing thing about what. So now we understand who it was. Rishicharis, they obtained Gokul, right? There can be contamination in Gokul. What was it? And this is a very important point. It's mentioned in the 4th verse of Mala Siksha by Guru Dev. He's quoting, but originally it's written by Rupa Goswami Pad. Why is it that though they had obtained Gokul, and they were actually in the presence of Shri Krishna, they were also seeing, and they also had Purvarag, everything. Why is it? 2 questions. One is, why is it that they really couldn't leave? The reasons you gave were correct, right? They didn't have sufficient association with the Nityasena Gopis. As a result of that, what happened? So 2 questions come up here. The other gopis, they were able to easily leave their homes and go. Is it that they told their husbands, listen, we're Nityasena, so we're going to see Krishna, deal with it. And the husbands were okay with it?
No.
So how were they able to leave and go?
An expansion of them was left.
Yes, because Yogamaya made duplicates. Right? So what happened to the Rishicharis? Why they could not go? Because they did not have? They didn't have a duplicate.
No books.
Now, why could they not get a duplicate?
Investigation.
Yogamaya is very merciful. Why they didn't get a duplicate?
is that greed or is that greed?
No, but something was not mature.
Something was not mature. So your husband already mentioned they didn't have association with Nityasena Gopis, so their praying did not flourish. They have Vasu City. But what is the what is light contamination for them?
Attachment to their families?
No.
They had been touched by their
A little bit,
husbands.
yeah, a little bit. They had attachment that I have a child, etc., also came up. What else?
They had had kids or some contact with their husbands, I don't know, some.
That both they mentioned, and yes, that's a fact. So they had some pride in their family.
Abhinivesh?
Big thing, huh?
Abhinivesh?
Abhinavation not, because it's abhinavation in the Siddhantic term means here, the absorption here. Because they had a pride of having obtained brunch. You understand? That I made it, I'm here. Hey Lalita, I'm Shaka, what's up?
Really?
I see you. You know, it's like, you made the NBA, right? And now you see Michael Jordan, hey, I'll see you later on, I'll play you all in the... So that mood, for lack of a better explanation, I'm sorry, right? So this mood was there somewhat. Also in the other southern city gopis, it will manifest at the Ras Lila itself. But also in these gopis, it is called Prem Seva Uttara, that I have obtained Braj. My bhajan has become successful. I am liberated, I am here.
So is that different from Sobhagyamat?
That happens to, no, that's what happens to the ones who go to Ras Lila. You understand? Those who didn't go, then that same thing, but for those who went to Ras Lila, their Sobhagyamat arose in the presence of Krishna. These, it arose having obtained Braj. Therefore, they had the enjoyment of Prem Seva Uttara. I'm here, I love Bhagavan, I have a family, everything is wonderful. So because some tinge of that was there, then Lokamai did not make duplicates for them, and therefore on the night of the Ras, their husbands checked them. Understand? Now, what was their success, however?
They started meditating and they burned that contamination in the mind.
What came in their meditation? Dusraha virohe tivrata. So dusraha means dusraha
The
virohe
grade increased.
tivrata. Tivra means like intensive. Like in Hindustani music, there are notes, komal and tivra. Right? If you're doing a rag, the tivra note is the note that's prominent note, very strong. So tivra tap means suffering. Due to separation, they had so much suffering. Dushta Shubha. At that time, any contamination they had and any auspicious idea I've arrived at was destroyed. Understand? Due to the intensity of separation of not being able to attend the Ras, any last vestige of, oh, I've arrived, I was successful, I have liberation, I've obtained my city, that was destroyed. But still, the happiness that is a result of obtaining Braj, how can you get rid of that? You can't. You understand? But in the happiness, if I don't get the association of Krishna, right, I cannot give him happiness. Therefore, there's a difference between my feeling happiness and the happiness derived from not wanting my own happiness, but only wanting Krishna's happiness. You understand that? That came to them, Dhyanya Prapta Chutta Shlesha Nivritta Shina Mangali. When Krishna appeared within their hearts, Paramatma Jarya Purapi Sangata. When Krishna appeared in their hearts and they embraced him, at that time any self-interest of their own happiness left, and only the happiness of the desire to please Krishna came. You understand? So this is how they did obtain Ras, either on a later night of that their Brahma, or in Nitya Golok Dham directly, Acharya said. Understand? So this is their case. Now what about the case of those who actually did go to Ras? All of the southern Asiddhas who went to Ras. What was their situation? Shah mentioned.
Krishna asked him, why did you come?
He did to all.
Pranay
This
Gita.
Pranay Gitas he did for all. Radhika, all. What about southern Siddha Gopis? What was something that happened with them?
In Shamsundar, I think he called it Sobhagya. That mentality, oh, we're so fortunate to be here to be dancing with Krishna.
Yes, evam bhagavata Krishna labdhamanam atmanaha atmano maniveshrina manyo adikib adikam bhovi. They thought, because when Krishna started dancing, he was dancing in between each gopi. So each gopi went, obviously if you're looking at the face of Krishna, what else can you notice?
Thinking that they were the only ones.
I'm the only one.
Oh yeah, maybe
So
they
Krishna
were-
has picked me out of all gopis and he's personally dancing with me. Because of the absorption of Krishna being on their right side or left side, and they're seeing Krishna's face, they could not see anything else. I am so fortunate, only Krishna is dancing with me, therefore, manino adhikam bhuvi. Among all women, I am the most fortunate. You understand? And when that happened, a feeling came over there. Tasam tat subhagya madam. Manaviksham. Prasadaya prasadmaya. Tatrata antradiyata. At that time, when that Sobhagya Ma came over them, the intoxication of their good fortune, at that time Krishna saw that. And Krishna knew, unless they will get the association of Srimati Radhika, then they will be unable to obtain the place of Yate Sujata Charanam Muranam Sineshu. This is the last verse of Gop. This mood in which Krishna is Vasibhut, which he becomes conquered. They will never get that mood if their own subhagya can intoxicate them, their own good fortune. You understand? So, at that time, Krishna tatra antradiyata. So antradiyata means he just disappeared. Understand? But you can analyze the words too. Antradiyata. Antar means internally. So he did not leave, he just entered a space which required them to go deeper in their bhakti to obtain it. So you could look at it in that way also. Antradiyata, that their diya, their intelligence, means towards serving him, would have to find a deeper place to access being able to have his association. What place will they have to go to? They will have to go to the Taratmic mood with the heart of Radhika. So this is the genesis then of Gopi Geet, because Krishna disappears. This leads to Gopi Geet. And throughout all the verses of Gopi Geet in unfoldment, they come to the point where they hear the verse. They hear the verse. Oh, this Gopi must among all be the best. Anya, what is the last line? Anaya.
Pritoyam anayadra. No.
Pritoyam, that's the third line.
Yeah.
Pritoyam anayadra. Right? So they had come to the point where this Gopi, she must have worshipped Krishna the absolute best. She must be the model of this worship. And then finding Radhika later in the deep mood of separation, which they experienced in some partial way when Krishna disappeared, now seeing the separation mood of Radhika, even their separation of Krishna was very pale in comparison. Therefore they took Taratmic mood to Radhika's separation. It's at this time, just like in the Damodar Bandhan Leela, all of those who have Vatsalya praying, their Vatsalya praying becomes completely perfected when they do what? When they assist Mother Yashoda, they bring the ropes from their own homes, they take the ropes from their own hair, and combine them with the ropes and the hair ties of Mother Yashoda. Their Vatsalya praying reaches now true Ashraya of Vatsalya praying. In the same way, when they see Radhika in that condition, and they become empathetic with that position completely, their praying takes now the mood of the proper level to serve Krishna. Understand? So then they completely become Taratmic with the service mood to Radhika's separation. Right? Now, does it mean the other Paksha of Gopis, their moods are gone? No. But at that time, Gurudev said at that time, everybody, when Krishna leaves Braj, even Abhimanyu comes and praises Radhika. Jatila Kutila come and praise Radhika. Her prayer. Yes, all come. That time Radhika, because in Ujjali Mani is mentioned, Brahmandak Shobha Brahmitam. When Radhika has deep mood of separation, the whole universe is affected. Understand? So everybody comes. If you read in Hamsadut, I think one instance is maybe Hamsadut. But all come and they're all going, oh Radhika, don't die. We know you love Krishna. We're sorry we caused any difficulty. So everything. Because remember, when Krishna is leaving, they reveal. Right? Visrujalaja, Rudasma, Susmaram, Govinda Dhamo, Dharma, they openly admit we love Krishna. Now what? Understand? And we're not coming back home. So they stay in Rudavkari 90 days, then they go to Nandadam to help console Mother Yashoda. Understand? So at this time, their love reaches the proper level to serve Krishna. This is so important for us because we will also enter during this Sarid Ras Leela. But will we be at home checked by our husbands? No. Because we will be with Radhika and we're maid servants of Radhika, so husbands think they're always out with this girl serving her. What is it? What is the problem? You understand?
Some manjari is not even married, right?
Some manjaris might, but most are.
Most.
Most are married. They also live in and around Yavat. Once
But
Radhika
no,
gets
no
married.
kids, right?
No kids. Radhika also no kids.
What I always was wondering how it happens. Who has kids, who doesn't?
Shadam Siddha, in their first iteration, they have kids. But Jahu Gunamahi Deha, the last line of that verse I quoted earlier, says some gave up their bodies and obtained Nitya Golokdam. There, only the conception of having children is there. Nobody has children. Understand? So like this, once they obtain the mood with Radhika, and then they go searching for Krishna with Radhika, and they go to the verses of Gopi Geet, when they recite, Yate Sujata Chananam Bunhamnas Staneshu, Rita Sanada Dimahi Karakaseshu, Tinatavim Vyatate Naking Swit Uparivi Brahmati, Baba Mayu Samnaha. When they recite this verse, then Tasamave Vachachori Smayamanamukambo Pitambara Daraswabri, Sakshat Manmat Manmat. Then Krishna, hearing this verse, is called Vasikrita verse. He comes under control of that verse. And he appears as the Vira Lalit Anupur Nayak. He comes before Radhika with Pitamba and all gopis, Pitamba begging their forgiveness. And then they have a discussion on what is praying. Don't get ecstatic, bro.
Material energy cannot.
So, it's good. So then, at that time, they go to a query of questions and answers about what is love. You understand? And then Krishna is able to then give expression that he had done everything he did only to increase their love. You understand? Because the gopis ask, what kind of lover are you, actually? You call this here, you give us a hard time doing pranay geet, then when it Ross, this started, then you disappear. So they're asking, so all this too, make that your love should come out fully. You understand? And in this way, then the Rasa Lila takes place in earnest and don't see that. Okay, last thing, because I have to go. What is the main difference with Vasanti Rasa Lila? Already some people said?
Different type of flute is played.
Different play? Oh, different type of flute? Some normally it's more
Different plays.
different plays, Govardhan,
Time.
other Leela type of Govardhan name. And only what gopis are there?
Oh, only
Nitya.
Only Nityasiddha gopis are there. So now what happens if we were Southern Siddha, right? So what happens to those who became Southern Siddha? They never go to that Rasa Lila? Interesting question.
Or is it after Vastu Siddhi they're allowed to go to that?
You have Vastu City when you get there.
They do it in meditation.
After obtaining Nitya Golokdam, it is Nitya Siddha. Understand? Southern Siddha and Nitya Siddha are not really two different things. It's only for the sake of understanding the evolution. Having obtained Nitya Golokdam, are you still Southern Siddha?
You have to sit there at that point.
Huh? It's there's no distinction, right? They don't give out those those tags. What company you work for. So you don't get one of those. Yeah, no, Southern Siddha. And there's those guys that
Sakis and Pranasakis, it's like there's a little order of hierarchy of who's following who. There's Sakis,
Yes.
Pranasakis, but one of them is no one's saying like
nobody's saying. But the order is established by the nature of the prem, which Anumani says. Understand? So who is Saki, Priya Saki, Nitya Saki, Pran Saki? So what kind of Sakis can we be? Nitya Saki only. Pran Saki means Rup Manjari, Rati Manjari, etc. Nitya Sakis are their followers who are doing Anugachi to them. And then they are following Paramapresta Sakis like Lalita, etc. And the Priya Sakis, they're kind of, you have Radhika, right, that nourish those moods. And then I think I told at the intensive how the different groups of the four categories, Swapaksh, Tatashta, Swapaksh, Suryapaksh, Tatashtapaksh, Vipaksh, how they manifest. All the way from Sneha, right? For us, not such a consideration, this is just a science, but if you're practicing Radha Dasan, this thing will not make any difference because you'll be in the camp of Radhika, no doubt. You understand? But how the Leela is playing out, that those who are Vipaksh, like Chandravali's group, it's based on their Sneha. So they have Grita Sneha, Radhika's group has Madhu Sneha. In between is some mixture of those things. Like Bhadra will have so much Gritta Sneha with some Madhu Sneha. Shaima Shakti will have mostly Madhu Sneha with some Gritta Sneha. You understand? So like that. And then that turns into the kind of rag they have. Some will have Nilima rag, some will have Rakti rag. Understand? Same division breaks down like that. And that's how they're broke. That's how their emotions, their love, brings them into different categories. So, other thing about Vasanti Raslila? Does Krishna disappear in the Vasanti Raslila? Hmm?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't Radhika leaves openly in
Yes.
front of everybody, whereas in Shraddha Rush she like steps out before they notice.
Mm-hmm. But also, what does Krishna do in Vasanti Raslila?
Openly follows.
Openly, Tat Tajya Braja Sundari. So right in front of all the other Nityasudha gopis, he left to go with Radhika. So here it's proven, this is what Ramananda Roy told to Mahaprabhu, Kamsriyapi Samsara, this verse, that it proves that Radhika's superiority of prema. Because Krishna openly, not in front of just all gopis, but in front of the highest class of gopis, walked away directly. Okay? So, here, any questions?
Is that also in front of Chandravali also?
Everybody.
Oh.
Everybody. Nobody was spared.
Prabhu, is it possible to give a summary
And
of
what
what is
way?
Nilima Rag and Rakti Rag?
Everybody okay? I'm giving class. Yes, I'm at the temple. Yes, I'm leaving. I'm coming home right now. I'll be on my class on time. Okay. Okay, Haribol. Alright. That's a good reminder. She reminded me I have a class. I'm not in class. This is class. The intoxication of pizza. So, different kinds of sneha lead to different kinds of rag, and also different kinds of man. So, Gritta Sneha leads to Nilima Rag. Nilima Rag has two divisions, Nili Rag and Shaima Rag. So, they're proportionate to the amount of Gritta Sneha in that mood. You understand? So, the extreme, for instance, is Chandravali. She has Nili Rag. Nilima is the category. In Nilima, Nili Rag is the thickest mood like that. The nature of this Rag is that it covers. So, example, if Krishna is there with Chandravali and he does Gotra Skala, you know Gotra Skala means like to say the name of Radhika by accident somehow, right? In front of Chandravali. Chandravali will smile. You understand? So Krishna will put his hand on the hand of Chandravali and Chandravali will smile, but she'll take his hand and just put it on the side. You understand? But she won't freak out or anything. You understand? I don't know if that's the right term. I'm just saying what experiences we have. So she will maintain her mood. Her inner mood is one way, but externally she will not change demeanor so much.
That
It's-
she's very chaste.
Like that, like I know what you said. I heard you. Understand? But I'm not making a big deal out of it. But don't touch me. Understand?
She maintains her composure.
Maintains composure. In Rakti Marag, right? And in Rakti Marag, two kinds. Manjista and Kusumba. So Radhika has Manjista Rag. In Manjista Rag, he'll say the name of Chandravali. Oh, that's what you want to do? You should hit the door, go that way. And then you can find all your Chandravalis you want. There's so many of them in the sky. It's like, you understand? So the nature of that kind of, because Rupa Goswami made it comparable to different kinds of dye that come from different kinds of sources. So that kind of dye, it is very thick, but it fades very quickly. So Radhika's mood can become uncovered very quickly. You understand? Whether good or bad side, it can become uncovered very quickly. You understand? So this is how he used these dyes as a way to analyze the various ones. That leads to different kinds of man, like Lalit man, Udat man, how they will respond. So those were examples of Lalit man, Udat man, how they respond under certain conditions. Alright, any other last questions?
You know, Gurudev said in separation you will be on, it's like the fast way to be on all anarthas. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, separation mode is the fuel. So all sadhana, all the what he's doing sadhana, purva rag is their nourishment. Because purva rag means yatra sangamat, purva darshane, shravanadi ja, militai pragyatayor, purva raga sauchite. It's mentioned that when the devotee has attraction for Krishna, but has not had darshan yet, eligible but not have seen darshan yet, purva shravanadi ja, but they've heard so much harikatha, so many things. Because of that, milita pragya, there's a great desire to meet with Krishna, to serve Krishna, etc. But tayo means Radha and Krishna, because milita pragya, for them it means each meeting each other, but for the sadhaka it means meeting those two. Right? Tayor, a purvarag sochite. This is called purvarag. That purvarag is the fuel for any sadhaka. Any sadhaka in the earlier stages of their sadhana, up to the stage of even a sakti, the main thrust of their purvarag will be the mood which is fueled by Shri Guru Virohe. You understand? By the separation from Guru. The mood of separation from Guru is been in your purview. You've had that experience. Understand? So therefore, in the stages before the complete ability to resonate with Swarup Shakti, because now the Prabhu of Swarup Shakti is there, that's why it's called Bhajana Kriya. Prem gave a very excellent understanding of that thing. It's a Kriya because the Prabhu of Swarup Shakti is there, but not Swarup Shakti itself. You understand? So because of that, during the Bhajana Kriya, then the Prabhu is there, but we don't have the ability to completely resonate, therefore it doesn't reveal Krishna. Because Swarup Shakti reveals Krishna. But that Prabhu of Swarup Shakti, nourished by the fuel of Virohe from Sri Guru, those two things combining together is what subsidizes the fueling of our bhajan life. Because one thing you've had experience of, the other thing you have aspiration for. Understand? So in order to have emotional content in your bhajan, you'll remember Sri Guru. And when you remember Sri Guru, your emotional content will rise. Upon the arising of the emotional content, you'll mix it with your aspiration. I want to see my Guru Dev again and serve my Guru Dev as Sri Raman Manjari.
Something that I never understood very well is the relevance of the attraction that the wives of the demigods have for Krishna. Because as far as I know, they are not.
He's cute.
Huh?
What? It's cute.
Okay.
Okay, but Kubja, for example, she's not considered in the realm of prema because she was seeing Krishna with material eyes. So I think the same happens with the wives of the demigods. So why is it so often that they are brought?
Yeah,
as an example?
Kubja, she had the samskar because she was previously Surpanakar. Understand? So she had the samskar of lust towards Ram that manifested to fulfill I'm going to fulfill everybody's desire. The thing that she had going for her was she only had lust for Krishna, but she had lust. Therefore the Acharya said we can't really say this is prema. Only in Rasa Siddhanta, to give it a name, we call it Sadharanarati. Like Sadharanirati, Samanjasarati, Samartarati. So we're calling it that, but truly it's not any kind of rati.
So what kind of attraction does
The demigods
the
wives
wives
have?
of the demigods have?
It is swabhavic attraction based on the quality of Krishna.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's not born from a lust they have, because they're high class of persons, so they don't have just ordinary material lust. But Krishna's qualities are so overwhelming, his transcendental qualities, it is swabhavic that anyone will be attracted. That's why he's called Krishna. So they being in the personification of those female forms, seeing the qualities of Krishna, the swabhavic nature, feminine nature, has that kind of attraction. But it's not mundane lust, because they don't have it for anyone else except the husband, the demigod they may be married to, whatever, and Krishna. You understand? Whereas Kubja had lust. That
Okay,
this is,
but
this
my-
person.
Okay, allow me. If they're seeing Krishna because Krishna is all attractive and can be attracted to all living entities, why not their husbands, the demigods themselves?
Because Krishna is not comparable to any devata.
Hmm.
So their attraction is not because they want to have that attraction. You understand? It's not that the demigod ladies are thinking, I want to be attracted to another man. They can't help it. This is the nature of Krishna. You understand? The nature of Krishna is that even when Krishna walked into the wrestling arena at Mathura, all those ladies in there who were married already. What's this verse?
Maulana Masanir.
Yeah, Masanasana, Smara Murtiman. They saw Krishna directly like Cupid. But they're very chaste ladies and everything. But this is the quality of Krishna because he's personified Sakshat Manmat. He's personified Cupid. So it's not a question of some extraneous desire they had that was lusty beyond their husbands or something. There's nobody who could resist that. Every woman in Braj, every woman in Mathura, every woman in Dwarka, every woman in heavenly planets, not possible to resist that. So why is it different from Kubja's? Because Kubja, the lust was first, Krishna was the second consideration. I have not seen a man more handsome than this. But everything is about my lust. The Devis, they have some of these, you know who those Devis are, by the way? It's explained in Ujjali Mani. The demigods' wives who appear as demigods' wives when Krishna comes here, they're Priya Sakis. So they're eternal associates, actually. It's also why. Because actually there was a big debate once. And one devotee was writing that there's a combination of your own desire and the Krishna's desire. They have an intersection. This is how whatever rasa you end up having, this is part of the combination of what happens, right? Looking from the point of view of a sadhaka, right? So they were saying, one devotee was writing, yes, therefore everybody wants to be a Manjari Bhav, but I would like to be a Priya Saka. First of all, who will you do Anugatya to be a Priya Saki? Who will you follow for that? Then also you'll be the Guru Jan of Raghunath Das Goswami. And Rupa Manjar, you'll be their Guru Jan. You understand? So you don't see that. Now in Ujjali Mani, it's clearly mentioned there that when Krishna takes birth on earth, he tells that some of the Priya Sakis, they should take birth as the wives of demigods. So this is also the Pramanas there in Ujjali Mani. So this is also why, but also even on the point of even ordinary Devis, right, who are coming from this side, not coming from Priya Sakis, right? Their swabhavik attraction to Krishna is because that's the nature of Krishna. You understand? Every person is attracted to Krishna. Nobody can help. Kubja, the attraction was dominated by her self-interest. That's what made her have Sadarni Rati or not even considered to be afraid. Because there's no mood of service to him, the mood is you serve me. But Krishna granted that.
And what's her destination for that kind of a
Kubja I have not seen or heard. Her wishes fulfilled. I've not heard anything else. But something must be there because previously she was Sopanaka. And she was given a benediction to become Puja so nobody would be attracted to her till Krishna came. Then Krishna made her very beautiful. So maybe somewhere it's written. That's a good question to ask. Maybe Maharaj will come, that's a good
And
question.
have a class today, Maharaj explaining this.
Oh, what happened with Puja?
Yeah.
What did he say?
No, I don't remember exactly, but
Oh.
I can send you.
Yeah.
if you want.
Must be something has obtained because it's not possible that she would have had this kind of contact and just nothing. She's gone back to being Puja. So, okay, I better go because I'm definitely going to be late.
Yeah.
By Dhanavad Pranam, devotees, Radhe Radhe. Vancha Kalpataruisha, Oh. I think it's in the base. See, I think let's see where that's right here.
Thank you.
Haribo, not understand it. Come on. Hey, Sean, you keep going. Yeah. All right, I'll hear you on shoes on this side.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya
Vishnu Pada Sutra Sada Shishima Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Sutra Sada Shishima Shila Bhakti Vedanta Sri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Vidyana Bharati Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Bhalavati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Vaibhav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Jivana Janana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Jagat Guru Om Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Prabhu Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Om Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Daita Vamanava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Rakshaka Shri Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Pragyana Ki Jai Goswami Maharaj Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Italira Pravisam Om Vishnu Pada Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Italira Pravista Parama Bhagavat Prabhupada Shila Guru Shoda Subhaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Italira Pravista Sat Goswami Shila Sachidananda Bhakti Thakur Ki Jai. Italira Pravista Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannatha Subhaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shrimati Vedantacharya Shila Baladevi Jabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Rashik Shila Mani Shila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shila Navatam Srinivasa Shamana Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Shila Krishna Dasika Viraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Sam Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Swami Padamudar Manadari Shri Guru Parsha Nabila Ki Jai. Namachari Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Kahol Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsa Gaura Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai. Shri Atodip Mahapuru Shri Mantadip Gojumatri Mantadip Kolodip Pichuji. Janubir Modadumadri Bhakti Bhakti Krishna Bhakti Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Govardhan Godash Panatma Krishna Raja Mandala Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ganga Jamuna Tulasi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Mati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Punamasi Jogamai Ki Jai. Shri Gopesha Mahadevi Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Paladev Subhadra Shri Dasi Shakra Ki Jai. Shri Vipalam Kshetra Mandala Shri Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Sarva Vikna Vinashakari Shri Nisina Deva Bhagavat Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabha Shri Pralad Maharaj Ki Jai. Nanda Vaishmar Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nava Sankirtana Ki Jai. Ananda Kund Vaishnava Vida Ki Jai. Samagata Bhakta Vida Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Prema.
Om Vrinda Tulsi Deva
Jai Shri Gauri Bhakti Jai.
Shri Satavardhane Namo. Namo Tudasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha Raja Radha Krishna Nitya Seva Radha Krishna Nitya Seva
Sweet.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Namamishwaram
Yeah,
Sachi
let's do it together.
Anandarupam Lasa Kundalam Gokule Brajamana. Oh,
Was it? What
No,
it
this
is
is
like?
good.
Look at this one. Let's look at this.
Namamishwaram Sachi
This one?
Namanishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasa Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Viola Ladhavamanam Param Vishwamata
I worship the Supreme Controller, whose form is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Upon his cheeks, Makara-shaped earrings are swinging, and he shines most brilliantly in Gokula. Running away from the grinding mortar in great fear of Mother Yashoda, he was ultimately caught from behind.
Weeping incessantly, he rubs his eyes with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear. He takes heavy breaths again and again that cause the pearls and the other ornaments around his neck, which is marked by the three gracefully curving lines, to tremble. I offer pranam unto that Damodar who is bound by his mother, Vatsalya Bhakti.
Through times such as this, he drowns the residents of Gokula in pools of bliss, thereby informing people who are aware of his godhood that he can only be conquered by his devotees. Countless of times I again offer loving obeisances to him.
O Deva, I do not ask for liberation from this world, nor the highest liberation of residence in Vaikuntha, nor do I seek any other benediction from you, the supreme benefactor. O Nata, may this form of yours, as Balagopala, a little cowboy boy in Vrindavan, forever remain visible in my heart. What is the use of any other benediction?
Your lotus-like face, encircled by soft blackish-blue curly locks of hair that have a reddish glow, is repeatedly kissed by the gopi Sri Jasoda. May your lotus face, with leaves like red bimba fruit, always remain manifest in my heart. I do not care about millions of other attainments.
O Deva, O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, obeisances unto you. O Prabhu, be pleased with me. I am drowning in an ocean of miseries. Alas, I am most afflicted and do not know what to do. O Isha, shower me with your merciful glance and kindly uplift me by becoming directly visible to my eyes.
Just as you freed the two sons of Kuvera, even while bound around the belly, and made them the recipients of your devotion. Similarly, please bestow upon me profuse prema bhakti to you, in your form as a little cowherd boy. O Damodar, I long for this alone. I do not want any other kind of liberation.
O Damodar, I offer pranam to the robe binding your belly, for it is an abode of brilliant effulgence. I offer pranam to your belly, which is the mainstay of the entire universe. I offer pranam again and again to Srimati Radhika, your most beloved. I offer pranam to you, my divine Lord, who perform unlimited transcendental pastimes. Jai.
Shri Damodar Vrata ki!
Jai.
Until next year. Chaturmas ki, until next year.
Eternal mass. Eternal wrath, ki jai.
Oh, General Vrata, yes. Now it stops.